The last lesson of the year. Every Tuesday evening, Clara arrived at the old community center. She was 25 years old and full of energy. Her students were much older than her, but they were her favorite group. Arthur, the oldest student, always sat in the front row. He listened carefully to every word Clara said. Today, Clara looked a bit tired. It was the week before Christmas, and she had been working very hard. When the lesson ended, Clara packed her books. "See you next week for our final class," she said with a smile. Usually, the students left quickly to catch the bus. But today, they stayed in their seats. They waited until Clara walked out the door and down the hallway. As soon as she was gone, Arthur turned to the others. "Clara works so hard for us," Arthur whispered. "She is far from her family this Christmas. We should do something special." Eleanor nodded enthusiastically. They decided to organize a surprise party. They had to be very careful. They didn't want Clara to find out. They met at a small cafe the next day to write a list of what they needed. Victor was in charge of the decorations. He went to a local shop that sold bright lights and colorful tinsel. He wanted the classroom to look like a winter wonderland. He found a small, artificial tree that could fit on the teacher's desk. He felt like a young boy again, excited for the holidays. Meanwhile, Eleanor was busy in her kitchen. She was a wonderful baker. She decided to make traditional honey cookies and a large fruitcake. The smell of cinnamon and ginger filled her house. She carefully placed the cookies into a tin box decorated with snowmen. She hoped Clara would like the taste of home. On the evening of the last class, the students arrived an hour early. Victor climbed a small ladder to hang lights around the chalkboard. Eleanor arranged her homemade treats on a table at the back. They worked quickly and quietly, laughing together as they transformed the plain room into a festive party space. Arthur stood by the window, watching the street. "She's coming!" he shouted softly. He quickly turned off the main lights. The only glow came from the small Christmas tree and the fairy lights on the wall. The students hid behind the desks and the tall cupboards. The room was silent, except for the sound of their excited breathing. Clara walked down the hallway. She was carrying a heavy bag of graded essays and a small box of chocolates for her students. She reached the door of room 4 and noticed the lights were off. She felt confused. "Did I get the time wrong?" she wondered. She slowly turned the handle and pushed the door open. "Surprise! Merry Christmas!" everyone shouted at once. The lights flickered on, and the room was filled with cheers. Clara dropped her bag in shock. Arthur stepped forward, holding a small bouquet of winter flowers. He saw tears of happiness in Clara's eyes. She couldn't believe her students had done all of this for her. They spent the rest of the evening eating, singing carols, and practicing their English. Eleanor served Clara a large slice of cake and a cup of warm tea. They didn't talk about grammar or verbs. Instead, they shared stories about their families and traditions. Clara realized that even though she was far from home, she had found a new family in her classroom.